This is Mikey.
And I'm Garrison Rifen. This is Cinema Debrief. Welcome to Cinema Debrief, episode 16. I'm Garrison Rifen. I'm here alongside my co-host, Mikey. Mikey, how are you doing tonight?
What is up, Garrison? This is weird. We're in a week where there's new Star Wars content, and I don't know if I'm like super excited. Like I'm usually super excited about new Star Wars content because we've got Maul Shadow Lord coming out. It's the new animated series for Disney Plus, obviously. I'm like kind of excited because it's been a minute since we've had new Star Wars. I guess what was the last thing? Skeleton Crew, I guess, would have been the last thing, or Andor season 2.
Last new Star Wars, I think, was Andor.
Andor season 2, 3.
Yeah.
2, whatever. 2. Yeah, only 2 seasons of that ever. So, I mean, the last Star Wars we had was really good for some people. And I do like all the animated shows, but I don't. It's like weird. I think the Mando and Grogu effect has come upon me where I'm not super excited about that either. It's Star Wars. I want to see it, and I'm going to be there as soon as I can possibly be there. My niece is graduating that weekend, so I won't get to see it on the Thursday opening, which is fine. It's a big deal. My niece is graduating high school. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm an adult. I don't have to complain about it. I'll go to her graduation. I'm not going to whine. Wait, am I whining right now? I don't know. But anyways, no, Star Wars. Yeah. So I don't know. It's weird. Like, are you a Star Wars animation guy? I don't know if I've ever asked you that.
You know, I have watched it.
Okay.
I don't know where I fall in my head because I'm not compelled to watch it. I care way more about the live action stuff and the live action movies specifically, probably more than anything.
Sure.
I have seen the Clone Wars, and I watched it in preparation for us for Mando season 2.
Okay. Impressive.
I watched all of
Rebels
in anticipation of Ahsoka.
Okay, and here's the kicker. Like, have you seen Resistance?
No.
Okay, so I know your level. Okay, that's all it takes. Like, you can always know the level of someone's Star Wars fandom on if they've seen Resistance or not.
Yeah, I still haven't watched one of those last Tales they put out.
I've watched all the Tales things.
I don't really care. As weird as that is to say, I love Star Wars. Give me more Star Wars, but some of the animated stuff, I'm just not like compelled to go watch it. I mean,
you watched all of Bad Batch though, right?
Yes. Yeah, we did that on the
we did that on the extra. That's right. So so Resistance, that's good. Like I like the fact that you haven't seen Resistance because that means you're kind of normal. Like whereas most Star Wars fans, like uber fans like myself, I've seen Resistance and it didn't move the needle for me at all, but I have seen it.
I think Dad has season 1 on DVD sitting not far from me.
Oh, impressive.
I don't think he's ever
DVD.
I don't think he's ever watched it, but he's got the DVD.
If they released it on Blu-ray, I would have purchased it, but not gonna purchase DVD, I don't think. Yeah.
Frustrating thing as well in terms of completing a universe. You've got the first 6 seasons of Clone Wars on Blu-ray, and Dad has them, but they've never released season 7, which was a Disney Plus exclusive, of course. But even with those, they had the steelbooks coming out a few years ago, and that wasn't something they pushed. So,
and they've stopped releasing steelbooks. So who knows if
appears so. Knows? Yeah, since Sony took over, it seems like they've kind of
soured on the whole process.
Yeah, that's not really selling that well. What I would assume happened there.
I would love to have Andor season 2 in 4K though. I mean,
yeah, no, I will take it all. You know that.
You're right. I will too.
I bought every single steelbook that they put out.
Me too.
And
Me too.
I said, hey, look, I made a promise on the extra when we were doing that show. I said at the time, I remember this, that if they put these shows out on disc, I will buy them.
Yeah.
You know, even some of the ones I don't love as much, because I want to support them putting streaming shows on discs. You know, maybe that makes me part of a problem in a certain way, but I would unfortunately buy Secret Invasion because I'm that much of a completist, but
I would
probably never watch it.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, that's the thing. I often don't rewatch things like that. I rewatched WandaVision. I remember rewatching that.
Mm-hmm.
I've rewatched Andor season 1. I need to rewatch season 2. I mean, it's that good. It's worth a rewatch. I've rewatched all the Mandalorian shows. So I mean, there's certain things I will rewatch, but not it. But anyways, I don't know. We're totally off track here. I'm just like concerned. I'm concerned for my own Star Wars fandom because in normal circumstances, I would be very hyped for new Star Wars animation and a new Star Wars movie. But I'm not as hyped as I normally am, and it's concerning me as I sit here in a room surrounded by Star Wars paraphernalia. I know the audience obviously can't see it, but they just listen to the sound of my voice. I am in a room literally wall to wall surrounded with Star Wars things. And I'm not hyped right now for new Star Wars, and it's concerning me. It's concerning.
Yeah, it is interesting because I think on the opposite end of the spectrum, the responses to things like, I mean, just generally public response that I've seen online.
Yeah.
You know, Mando and Grogu's not had a super hype response, though. When I watch the trailers, I do enjoy them. Personally,
especially the most recent one. Yeah.
But then Marvel, who is also in their kind of own slump in a way.
This is true. It's fair.
The response to the Spider-Man trailer and the Avengers stuff so far has been pretty high. So
right.
The difference is Marvel is coming out with 2 event films, and Mando Grogu is not an event film. It's almost like a season of television turned into a movie.
Yeah.
It feels like.
It feels like.
And that may be the reason why people don't care as much. So.
Yeah.
Big news. Matt Bellamy broke something today, 6 hours ago, said the Writers Guild has come to a tentative deal with studios on a new 4-year contract. Yes, an extra year than normal. Health plan / pension increases, SVOD bumps, protection to police licensing for AI training, and more. Still must be recommended and ratified, but huge news.
That is very big news.
Yes.
The writers, they were on strike for quite a long time. The last time they were on strike.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I remember many interviews with Tony Gilroy on the picket line of the writers' strike.
Yeah,
because it happened right in the middle.
Ago.
Yeah, it happened right in the middle of when they were filming Andor season 2.
Yeah,
and they had kind of called out. People had kind of called out Tony for still being on set, so he left the set and went straight to the picket lines in New York and was very supportive of the whole thing of the strike or whatever. Well, union.
You've got everybody coming to the table right now. The writers, the directors, the actors, the big three there. I think IT, ASC, whatever the kind of workers guild. I think they come up at a different time. For renewal. But anyway, 4 years is an interesting thing because the studios were pushing for 5. So that means they met in the middle because the writers typically did, the writers, directors, actors typically did 3.
Yeah, I was going to say it's usually 3. Yeah.
I'm sure there will be some arguments against, like, oh, well, that puts us another year off from being able to, keep up with pay raises and blah, blah, blah. But, that's for them to work out and whatever. But I mean, that's a huge deal because it keeps things from, not being shut down. If you watch, just personally, as something I like to watch, if you watch theaters in 2023, when the strikes happened, both the writers and the actor strike really had a huge impact on theaters, especially as productions ramped down. So other productions were delayed to kind of make up for the spaces in scheduling. You watched the totals at theaters go down, which ultimately hurt theaters in late 2023 and took that year from being what should have been, a 10 billion plus year domestically to being 8.9 or something domestically, which is still the best post-COVID, but the strikes really affected theaters. I know that I am surprised there's not more drag out with the AI conversation Um,
Yeah, you would have thought there would have been.
three years later, but I don't know what the exact terms that they've agreed to or tentatively agreed to, as Bellany is basically putting it. But it is promising news. I'm happy to hear that. I'm glad that people can continue to work, because when the writers and actor strike happened, there were other groups of people who were not able to go to work and kind of burned through their savings during that time too. So it was a rough period for the film industry, and I hope they can avoid that kind of thing.
Yeah, we don't need another. The industry can't handle another strike. Is really
Yeah,
what
I
it
think it
is.
would be devastating.
Yeah, I think it would be too. At the worst of times, yeah, it would be really devastating.
Speaking of bleak things, let's talk about Cruising. Your
Yeah,
pick
let's
from
talk
off the
about
shelf.
Cruising. It was my off the shelf pick. It was an Arrow release. They released a 4K, pretty impressive box set. There was quite a big essay, a booklet with an essay inside, tons of extras.
Mhm.
Interesting time for that move in Al Pacino's career when that movie came out. It came out in 1980. And just to give the listener an idea of like where Pacino was, I mean, we can just go back. I'll go back as far as Serpico, because that was 1973. He got nominated for an Academy Award for Serpico, working with Sidney Lumet. Then he follows that up with what I would personally say is probably his best performance ever, The Godfather Part 2, also nominated, Francis Ford Coppola's Godfather Part 2. Dog Day Afternoon goes back working with Sidney Lumet again, another Oscar nomination. Bobby Deerfield, not as familiar, at least I'm not as familiar with that particular movie, but big time director at the time that he wanted to work with, I guess, and Sidney Pollack. Then he goes back with another Oscar nominated performance for a movie called And Justice for All, which came out in 1979, directed by Norman Jewison. Huge name.
Yeah.
So think about it, like the guy could do anything he wanted. Like he's coming off of multiple Oscar nominations, really could do any film he wanted. In fact, there was a lot of parts that he was up for. He was up for Kramer and Kramer, the part that eventually went to Dustin Hoffman. He chose not to do that, but instead he chose to do a movie called Cruising with a director that was pretty big, William Friedkin. I mean, he obviously the director of The French Connection, The Exorcist, Sorcerer.
Yes.
So pretty big. Now, as far as like my background with Friedkin, I didn't really like start watching his older stuff until maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. I saw like his stuff as it was coming out in the 2000s and early 90s, and it was kind of underwhelmed with some of it. I saw Rules of Engagement when it came out. I saw The Hunted when it came out, and then smaller films, Jade and Bug. I saw them when they came out. And so I didn't really equate much Friedkin to being a great director until I started diving into his older stuff. Saw The Exorcist, which was always funny to me, that particular movie, because it was the movie that my mom said when she saw when she was probably too young to see it when it came out, and it terrified her. And so I was excited to finally watch The Exorcist. Watched Sorcerer within the last 5-6 years. Watched To Live and Die in L.A. like 3 weeks ago for the first time and loved it.
You told me about that. Yep.
And then his last film before he passed away, I actually enjoyed. It was his version of the Caine Mutiny, called the Caine Mutiny Court Martial. Kiefer Sutherland was kind of the star of that, but pretty good movie, very minimal. Something interesting about Friedkin that I didn't really like think of until I looked at his filmography again is that he doesn't do like period pieces. He makes movies, the year that the movie takes place is the year around that he filmed the movie. Like he's not going to do some old period piece or whatever. It's all current stuff. And so the thing that if you really look at his filmography, the thing that he does well is fully immerse you in whatever universe that he is directing. Like, and it's always really gritty. the way he films things, especially cruising, with the camera almost like in these seedy clubs, like you feel like you're in the club. The way he does slow pans, like he really wants you to be immersed in the seediness of this world that we are introduced to in cruising. And it takes place in New York and probably filmed in 1979. So let's like think about New York in 1979. It's only 2 years removed from the whole Son of Sam thing. There was like a serial killer in New York killing a bunch of women. There was the blackout of New York, like one of the biggest blackouts in American history, happened in 1977. And so they're really only like 2 years removed from when Friedkin decides he wants to do this movie Cruising. I think it's based on an essay. I don't even think it's based on a novel. I think it was like there was an essay that he read. And I don't know like if he really cares about the subject matter other than it's a cop that has to go undercover in a world that he's not used to. And that's basically like the meat of the movie. There's been tons of movies made like that. Cops having to go undercover in worlds they're not used to. More often than not, it's like drugs are involved and they're going undercover as a drug addict or somebody selling drugs or something like that. This was basically took place in the meatpacking district in New York City in 1980s in the gay culture. And it was a seedier side of the gay culture, like really like nasty side of gay culture. And there was a serial killer that is killing gay men, seducing them and killing gay men. And he has different voices. It's like really off-putting because they use different voices, right?
Clearly an overdub too.
Yeah, exactly. And
so it like stands out when you're listening to it.
But a successful overdub because it makes you feel even more uncomfortable, like with the whole situation. And one of the lines that I believe he said, and I'm probably just paraphrasing here, is "You made me do this," or something along.
He says that almost every time he kills somebody.
Right, and so you've got this seedy gay S&M culture that we're put in. And Al Pacino's character is a cop that Paul Sorvino, who plays the police chief, for whatever reason chooses Al Pacino, maybe because he's a pretty boy. But I never really felt, just as a viewer, that Al Pacino is a pretty boy. I think like Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt. I don't think Al Pacino as a pretty boy.
But I will say this, when the film starts, the first 16 minutes, Pacino's not in it.
Right.
I looked because once he shows up, I literally paused and went, "What point are we at?" Okay, 16 minutes in. And the victim so far, I had gone, "Wow, that guy kind of looks like Al Pacino." He's not Al Pacino, but he kind of looks like him. And then that becomes kind of a plot point in the movie. So they chose people that looked like Al Pacino. Now, I can't comment on whether or not Al Pacino's pretty, but they did pick people that successfully kind of looked like Al Pacino, which I thought was some good casting there.
Yeah, and it's funny, he's playing a guy named Steve Burns, just like a really like innocuous, boring named character. I mean, it's just kind of that way. His girlfriend, wife, couldn't really tell if they were married.
I think it's
girlfriend played by
because
Karen Allen
says like, "Do you want to like go on a break?" Which I don't think a wife would say.
You're right, a wife wouldn't say that. Yeah, so playing a character named Nancy, she was gorgeous in this film. Karen Allen. This is obviously before Indiana Jones because this took place in 1980. So this movie may have been why she got cast in Indiana Jones. I always kind of like look and see where actors are in their career. And this, working with Friedkin was a big deal in 1980, whether the movie is successful or not. I think over the years, there has been a bit of more appreciation for this film. But when it came out, it was kind of derided. It was not a loved movie when it came out.
Yeah.
But as happens through history of film, like people watching it and catching up on it, there's some appreciation for it. But I mean, because
it's funny.
Go ahead. No,
I was
you're good.
Say, because if you look it up, I mean, this movie got protested by like everybody.
Everybody. Right.
The gay community did not like this movie.
Right. And
But
to that effect, and that's a good to that effect. So in 2004, Al Pacino wrote a memoir or an autobiography called Sonny Boy. And in that book, he claims, I mean, he probably did this, but he claims that he donated his salary because he felt like the movie was exploitative of the LGBTQ culture. Now, first of all, in 1980, that was not a term. LGBTQ was not a term in 1980.
It was not.
So I'm going to call BS on that quote, like in general, because first of all, I don't think Friedkin was trying to do that. All Friedkin was he wasn't trying to be exploitative. All Friedkin was trying to do was immerse his audience in this seedy underworld that I'm sure that the gay community probably did not love, but it exists. There's seediness to heterosexual relationships too. I mean, it's not, all he's doing is showing that there was this serial killer in this community, and therefore you have to put an undercover cop in the situation to try and find the serial killer. It's as simple as that. I don't think he was trying to be exploitative at all. So Pacino's quote's BS. I mean, it's just, it is. It's just dumb. It's stupid for him to even say something like that.
And if you get Friedkin's side of it,
right,
that Pacino was difficult to work with. He was constantly showing up 2 hours late to set. Didn't know his lines. So I don't know how much Pacino understood about the film in the first place,
or cared to understand. Like, he was probably just there for probably a pretty good paycheck. I mean, because he could garner one. I mean, you've got a multiple Academy Award nominee at that point. He could do anything he wanted. For whatever reason, chose to do this film, which he probably didn't care a lick about the subject matter. He was probably just doing it for a job. Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but if you show up late on set and you have a bad attitude while you're on set and you're causing others to have to wait on you and stuff like that, I mean, it's not a good look. It's just not a good look.
Interesting. They added a disclaimer to the film.
They did.
Yes,
on the arrow.
Which is not on the film.
It's not on the original.
Is it not on the original?
I don't think it's on the original because it's on the arrow cut. So maybe it is. I don't know.
Friedkin is claiming in 2005 that the MPAA and United Artists required the disclaimer. And it says, this is what the disclaimer says. This film is not intended as an indictment of the homosexual world. It is set in one small segment of that world, which is not meant to be representative of the whole.
Right. Yeah, I can't imagine that they had that in 1980.
Okay.
That doesn't sound like a quote that someone would come up with in the 1980s, because in the 1980s, for better or worse, a lot of the gay community was a punchline. If you look at Police Academy movies that came out at the time, or any comedy that came out at the time, there was always a gay punchline. And so it wasn't really taken very seriously then. So I doubt that disclaimer was during the I mean, so I can't imagine, but it was before the Arrow version. So I don't know if that means it was. I mean, because usually Arrow is pretty authentic with the way they remaster things, and so who knows? I mean, but it sounds like it was in 2005 and not in 1980.
It's also mentioned in 2004 in another book. So it may have been when the DVD release happened. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, that could have been right around when the Blu-ray, maybe to DVD Blu-ray around that time. Maybe. I don't remember when the first Blu-ray was. But yeah, I mean, look. My favorite scene in the movie is when Powers Booth is barely in the movie at all.
Is that the guy who comes through the door?
No, Powers Booth is the guy when Steve goes into the bandana store to try and determine what color. And so Powers Booth delivers the line in only the way that guy can. It's just like the deadpan, here's what all these mean. Do you want one? And Pacino's like, I'm going to wait. So the stuff in the clubs, just very uncomfortable. too graphic. But I was thinking to myself as I was watching it, I was like, you know what? If this type of movie had been made today, it would have been way more graphic than what it was in 1980. Like I don't think. I mean, there's certainly some things in the background going on that you want to try and not pay attention to, but the way that, like I said, Friedkin wants his audience totally immersed. He's slowly panning, and you almost feel like you're in the club. He's slowly panning, and the camera's like in the midst of people, and it's just, yeah, it's super uncomfortable. But that's what this world was. I mean, this place existed. This was real. I mean,
Well,
this
this
was
is the leather culture too. So
yeah, it was the leather culture, and
you hear
always
the
with the
you hear the leather throughout the film.
always the Nazi iconography. Always so
Yeah, I
strange.
noticed it on the back of the walls. I was like, oh,
Just
that's
very
interesting.
strange, like very strange. So, I mean, to the point of what the message they added maybe in 04 or 05. I mean, it's a subculture. It's not the norm of that culture. And so, I mean, maybe people were super offended and that's why they were picketing it. But I mean, the thing that the movie also does is they show like the more wealthy side of things with the guys that are working in that clothing store, like the uppity gays, if you will. And so they show all sides of things here. And they even show like the kind of the art culture a little bit with the guy that lives in the building with Al Pacino's
that becomes a big part of the movie, and
it does
in a weird way.
In a weird way, it becomes a big part of the movie. So I mean, he's showing all sides of everything. I mean, it's just I think.
Go on.
No, I was gonna say, as far as like Pacino's performance in the first half of the film, like before he gets fully immersed in this world, I think there's a breaking point where the character changes quite a bit, and that's the dance scene.
Okay.
Where he completely lets himself. He's huffing whatever that is on the
which I could assume, but I'm not going to.
No, I mean, he huffed something, and got way and just let completely loose. And I felt like from an acting standpoint, he was actually really successfully portraying the character as would happen if you finally let loose and go completely undercover. Because he was sort of stiff through most of the movie. Like I didn't find that he was very engaged in the process a lot of times.
Well, and his character is kind of awkward. I felt like that was on purpose. Maybe it wasn't. I felt like that was kind of on purpose that he doesn't let loose because he kind of is. I mean, because he is uncomfortable. He
is. Yeah, you're right. I mean,
he doesn't appear to be a gay man, as far as we know. Of course, now we get towards the end of the film. Maybe there's some stuff there, but
maybe, yeah, right. And that's there was a moment in the movie where he finds a young waiter that's in this culture or whatever, and he starts trying to use him as a way to find this serial killer. And the cops, for whatever reason, I think they bust up that whole process too quickly. Like all these cops run into the building, break up whatever was about to happen, and Pacino not real happy about it because the cops took it over, and they finally used the title of the movie in a sentence because the young waiter goes, "He was cruising me," like trying to say it wasn't my fault. He was cruising me. So there you go. You get the title of the film in the script. Which is always fun for me. That's the moment where you always like, oh, look, they did the thing. They said the title of the movie in the script. So fun times.
I was afraid when I was watching this movie for the first 16 minutes that this is going to be a movie where we follow around a serial killer. And it was just the serial killer just killing a bunch of
point of view.
And I have seen movies like that, and I do not enjoy them. Because after a while, it just becomes really gross. and there's no good people to latch onto and be like,
Yeah.
okay, let's somebody please try to solve some of this.
Yeah.
I was glad that we got, introduced to Burns, who's on his way to becoming a detective potentially,
Right.
and he's actually trying to be a detective
Mhm.
while integrating himself into this underground community. Apparently, background wise, by the way, this film had an X rating initially.
Right. Yeah.
And it took Friedkin a ton of cuts, something like 50 times going in front of the MPAA,
Yeah.
making different cuts, cutting about, I think he said about 40 minutes of the
Yeah.
film
40. Yeah.
until he finally got an R rating.
Wild.
Which is not necessarily a surprise. There's a bunch of acts that happen on this film that, like, yeah, and I could see in the late 70s, early 80s being an X-rated movie.
Oh, sure, of course. Yeah. I mean, because you had
Nowadays it would probably just be R, but
because Midnight Cowboy was rated X.
yeah, which has been reclassified since then. But yeah,
Yeah, at the time it was rated X.
yeah,
And I think that there's far less explicit content in Midnight Cowboy than there is in Cruising. So it's interesting that ended up with a rated X and this did not. Although, like you said, he took 40 minutes out, so that's probably how he got his R rating.
yeah. Seemed like he appealed a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing as I was reading about the film, and people still talk about the ending and what it means.
Yeah. So
yeah, and we're spoiling everything because in all honesty, I don't recommend anybody watching this. But
you can't talk about the ending without spoiling it.
Yeah, you cannot talk about the ending without spoiling it, which is a close-up scene of Pacino shaving.
Yes.
Well, what were you going to say before that?
Importantly, we see that his gay neighbor, who he has acquainted himself with, was murdered after the serial killer has been captured.
Exactly.
Arrested.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden, his next door neighbor he's gotten really close with, who he previously in a scene before that had fought the roommate about, the other guy accusing him of liking him, essentially. He's murdered that guy. I think the movie is trying to say that he's murdered him.
Yeah, it's hard to know, though. I mean, because why?
Yeah, I don't know why we went that route.
I don't know
really
why
didn't
we
like. I liked catching the serial killer. I liked even the serial killer. His father is the voice on all those killers, even though they use different bodies. I'm pretty sure his father was used as the voice.
Yeah.
For all those kids, so they're like the spirit of his father was basically channeling through him.
Right. That's what they were trying to. Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure there's a trauma. I don't think he was actually possessed by the spirit of his father or whatever.
No. Friedkin wouldn't. Well, although he did direct Exorcist, so who knows? But
but I really don't like that choice. I think that hurt this film more than some of the other choices in this film for me. I really did not like that ending.
I agree. Totally agree.
Making him basically the new serial killer for the community.
Well,
he at least killed one person in the community.
But we don't know that for sure.
But he keeps the outfit. He keeps the killer's outfit.
He does. You're right.
Which is a bad sign to me.
It's a bad sign, but I think that the audience is supposed to not really know.
Yeah. It's ambiguous.
It is very ambiguous, as is the final scene where he's shaving. To me, it's ambiguous, but some, as I was reading about, some would think that just means he's now gay, or he's now going to choose this lifestyle because of the way he's looking at himself in the mirror, the way he's sort of, it's just kind of a weird scene. And then you've got Karen Allen's character trying on. Yeah, Karen Allen's character's trying on the leather jacket and the hat, and he kind of likes it. And so the whole thing is supposed to leave the audience not really knowing which way that character is going to go. But a lot of people think it's an indication that he was so immersed in that world now that he is gay now, basically.
I guess my question would be, you think he wouldn't ever kill again? I mean, because it seems like he's got maybe the same tendencies as the killer.
Right, exactly. It's hard to know. I mean, and I think that's what Friedkin likes. I think Friedkin likes the fact that you don't exactly, he doesn't want to spell it out for his viewer, but
I can enjoy ambiguous endings. I mean,
yeah,
Zodiac, Arthur Lee Allen is let off because they don't have enough evidence,
exactly.
and so there's an ambiguous ending there. Is it Arthur Lee Allen? We don't know. Probably
Hmm.
wasn't due to DNA testing, but he
Hmm.
is such a prime suspect there. Memories of Murder has an ambiguous ending. A guy
Yep.
who it's got to be this guy, but well, we don't fully know, and
Yeah.
the murderer is still maybe out there, and maybe he's in the audience, and we spike the camera at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
This movie, I just did not. I don't know.
Well,
I didn't care
here's
for
my. I didn't care for it either. In fact, I probably gave it too low. I mean, I only gave it 1 star. I mean, for me, it's just not the type of movie I enjoy.
Yeah.
But two things can be true at the same time. I think Friedkin is a super talented director, and
Mhm.
I have enjoyed the majority of his films. I'm not going to say that I'm going to go back and watch all of his films. I think I've seen all the films of his that I want to watch. So this is kind of the end of my journey with Friedkin. Ironically, is watching Cruising, because I've heard that some of the stuff in between that he does through the years are just not great watches. So I think I'm done with Friedkin. I think he is a super talented director. Obviously, Al Pacino, super talented actor. The two of them together did not work for me.
Mhm.
For whatever reason,
And
it
didn't
just
work
didn't
with each other.
and didn't work with each other, apparently. Yeah, there's many interviews out there that if you want to look up that Friedkin ultimately did not like working with Pacino, and it sounds like Pacino ultimately did not like working with Friedkin. So
I like that one you sent me. I think you sent it to me, where
yeah,
they basically had like Pacino time, where they
yeah,
told him 2 hours early to show
yeah.
up, and then he'd show up on time.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's known apparently in the industry. You got to tell this guy to show up 2 hours before you actually want him there.
Yeah.
And that was Friedkin's fault. But it's interesting. Can't say that I'm glad I watched the movie. But I am glad that I can check it off the shelf. Don't ever have to watch it ever again.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going to remove it from my collection. I think that there's value to everything, so I'll leave it in my collection, but I will probably never watch it again. So
I
what is
am.
next? Please save us from Cruising.
Oh, well, I
Or
have
not,
two
or not.
choices here,
Okay, no, go ahead.
and I could
Whatever
be
you want.
really mean.
No,
I,
dude, it's your pick. The movies I've made you watch so far, there's been some stinkers.
this is going to be a shout out to Mr. Rhett, Hurricane
Oh,
Rhett.
intriguing.
I have bought and purchased a film, and I colluded with Rhett
Oh,
to
goodness
do
gracious.
this.
Okay, all
And
right.
so our next off the shelf pick is going to be
Okay.
From Justin to Kelly.
Yes. Look, it is much deserved. I appreciate the sentiment. From Justin to Kelly, it will be. I cannot believe you're making yourself watch that movie also. So that is pretty funny. And I am,
Compare that with the drama next week.
for me, anything is better than Cruising. So I'm pretty sure From Justin to Kelly is going to be a sharp right turn away from what Cruising was.
Let's
So
hope.
I'm happy to watch. This is what I would like to call an aperitif. Like
Mhm.
it's going to cleanse my palate
Mhm.
away from Cruising. So that's
And then we
fine.
can get back to serious stuff.
And
Yeah.
then we can get back to serious stuff, because I do have, well, I mean, I don't know if it's like serious stuff, but my next Arrow film is a really fun one that I'm excited about. So
Okay.
yeah.
I'm excited too.
Yeah.
Well, the big focus this week, the
Yes.
Super Mario Galaxy movie, directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic, written by Matthew Fogel. Big movie this week, the biggest release of the year so far. Going to open
Yeah.
to about 370 worldwide, 180 probably, about 185 domestic for the 5 days. It came out. Huge movie, huge
Yeah.
kids movie. How'd you feel
Huge
about
kids
it?
movie. So here's one thing to think about. Like, the critics generally accepted the Super Mario Brothers movie and didn't totally pan it like they are this film.
Yeah,
And
I think it is barely rotten. It's like 59%.
yeah, it's like 59. So it's interesting. Like, I wonder, after seeing this today, I saw it today, earlier today. on the PLF that my family would allow me to see it on. So I did get to see it in the AMC Prime format
Okay.
with the recliners. That's the only one that my family will agree to go to. They don't like going to our IMAX because there's no recliners. So it is what it is. So I saw it on the biggest screen that I could see it on. It's not good, but that did not take away from the nostalgia bursts that were throughout for me. So I enjoyed like all the nostalgia bursts, but what was really strange to me about the film that's called the Super Mario Galaxy movie is that Mario was a bit sidelined.
I agree with you.
I was
Actually.
like, what's happening in this movie where
I think that there is enough to justify calling it the Super Mario Galaxy movie because it's his
yeah,
franchise ultimately,
sure.
and he does enough. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot more with Peach going off and doing her own thing, and then
right.
Rosalina's story, and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
enough mixing in there that it kind of felt like, whoa, at times, like, where is Mario right now?
It was weird. Like I was sort of like and even when he was around, he was sort of like dull. Like
Mm,
like Luigi got all the kind of fun lines
yeah,
and Yoshi got all the fun stuff to
I
do.
agree. He didn't get anything really cool to do.
I will say that the star of the film for me was Benny Safdie's Bowser Jr. I
Yeah,
thought he
he's
was
good.
great. I thought that was a great voice because you could not tell that was Benny Safdie at all.
Yeah, I
So
didn't even realize it actually.
to me, that's like that's an indication of a successful voiceover character is when you can't tell that you're listening. Like whereas with Bowser, you can tell that's Jack Black,
Yeah,
but Benny Safdie fully not in that at all. Like I
yeah.
didn't know it was Benny, and he did great. That's my favorite character of the film. Um,
I just want to compare something real quick.
yeah.
We talked about the first movie. So the first movie was 59% Rotten
Okay,
Tomatoes with critics.
okay.
Audience was verified 95. All
Wow,
audiences 93.
wow.
The average rating for critics on the first movie was 5.8%.
Okay,
5.8 out of 10.
yeah, 5.8.
Um,
So, yeah,
Audience was 4.7, which is just crazy. Um,
interesting. Yeah,
all critics 5.83. That's weird that it's slightly different from what I'm reading there, but I wonder
yeah,
what
that is
that's
weird.
breaking down. But top critics 4.2 out of 10 on the first film.
Okay,
Top critics on this one, interestingly, 4.89, which means not enough of them have probably submitted reviews yet.
probably not.
All critics 5.29, so it's dropped there from 5.83 to
Hmm.
5.29. Audiences dropped from 4.7 to 4.5. I have not seen if the cinema score has come in yet, but I
I don't
imagine
think it
it,
has.
it, it did feel like a step down to me.
It did. No, it totally did. Now what's not a step down? What is the animation in general? Like
Absolutely.
some
It's
of the
beautiful.
best animation that I believe that I like very closely compared to the quality of like what Pixar releases.
Yeah, and we have the cinema score,
Oh,
and
we do.
this perfectly reflects what we're saying.
Okay.
Super Mario Brothers movie in 23, an A. Super
Okay.
Mario Galaxy movie this year, A minus, which is
Okay.
still good,
Still good,
but
but
it's that step down.
step down. Yeah. And that's good. That's fair. I mean, because it is a step down. I mean,
Yeah,
the storyline, quote unquote. I mean, there's some
yeah.
bit of a storyline, but
It
it's all over the place.
it feels like a sugar high fueled
Yeah. Yeah.
pace with a yeah. I mean, the storyline is Bowser Jr. trying to get his dad back to capture this princess, to create this planet, to create an ultimate cannon. To what is the cannon going to do? I guess it could
Destroy
destroy
Mushroom
things.
World. Yeah. Destroy the
I
Mushroom
guess.
Kingdom. Yes. That's apparently what it was going to do. It's like a
um, you
super
know,
weapon.
and throughout the way, you get a bunch of Easter eggs and
Yeah.
characters that you're familiar with if you played other Nintendo games or other video games or Super Smash Brothers with Rob, that
Yes.
character
Well,
specifically.
Rob is actually from the original NES system. There was a
Okay,
Rob the Robot released in one of the original NES systems, and so that part I loved that part. That's a
okay.
good member berry. I mean, there was a lot of
Well,
great member berries in this.
his section was funny too.
His section was fun, very much though, like the sloth in Zootopia,
Yeah,
whereas it's
yeah.
the slow. So it's like we've seen this trick played before. We get it.
Mhm.
We know what's happening here. I was surprised they did it twice. Sorry, spoiler alert. You'll see that character twice when you probably don't
Yeah.
need to see him twice, but it's fine.
They speed him up the other time, though.
They speed him up a little bit the other time. The big thing that they kind of held to just this week was the fact that we were getting Fox McCloud in this.
Yeah, and he's great.
I loved what they did with the animation style when they introduced him as the character. I thought that was really fun.
It's like an anime.
Yeah, it was like an anime style animation.
Anime style.
Good job on that Illumination Paris specifically, which I think that's where their studio is anyways. I mean, I don't think they have, if you look at the end, it says Illumination Paris, but I think that's where I don't think they have a studio in the United States. But they did a great job. I mean, it's like their animation is getting better and better the more films they release. And I was just really blown away by the quality of it. Despite the story itself not being great, I still enjoyed myself.
And that's the thing to me. I gave it a 6 out of 10 purely because there were lots of things I had an issue with. And story is a huge thing to me, for me personally.
Yeah.
If I don't like the story, the filmmaking can be great. If the story's not great for me, it drags the film way down.
That's fair.
And the story here was not great. But the animation was fantastic. And everyone in the theater was having so much fun. And it wasn't an annoying audience. It was just like an interactive, good audience.
Yeah.
And I had a friend with me who loved it and had a good time.
Okay.
He's a big Nintendo guy. So walking out of the theater, I had fun. I was pleased with my experience, and so I gave it kind of like the barely good rating that I could give it because I enjoyed my time.
I gave it a 2.5, I think. I didn't quite give it a 3. I'll tell you this. So my kids are probably too old for this film. Neither one of them liked it. I've got an 11-year-old and a 15-year-old, and neither one of them enjoyed their time, other than they got soda and candy and crap. So and popcorn. So they liked that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But they liked the recliners and whatnot. So they did not enjoy the movie. They're familiar enough, not by necessarily playing the Mario games, but by playing like the Mario Kart they've played and Mario Tennis they've played. And so they recognized Rosalina. They recognized, so the new characters that are introduced, they kind of recognized just because they had played those other games. Because we've got a Switch, so they've played that stuff on the Switch.
Yeah,
but they did not like the movie at all. And so I would venture to say, like, probably like 9 years old and younger probably love the movie though. It is very much like made for that age group. I think any older than that, probably not.
The kids in my screening loved it. I could tell.
Little kids.
You seen little kids sit on the edge of their seats.
Yeah.
Like bouncing up and down at exciting parts, and you could see that in the theater, and I'm happy for them. I'll say that, and I'm happy for theaters specifically who are going to have a great weekend.
So, like, there's the concern, and I think it's like an unwarranted concern that the rewatchables brought up about it. Like, they're worried, and they're both parents, both the people that are on the rewatchables. They're worried that, like, brain rot, slop, as they called it, is going to ruin kids. There was all kinds of movies that I saw when I was a kid that had the worst storyline ever.
I don't think that this is brain rot. I could show you some brain rot online.
Yeah, right. No, I agree.
I don't think this is brain rot. I think this is just not a well put together story, super rushed pacing.
So the one thing that they were concerned about was like the pacing of the film is slop, brain rot type stuff, because it is very frantic. Like, but I know what you mean when you say internet brain rot is different than this.
I think internet brain rot is
horrible.
I think it's
very
some
different
of the worst stuff I've
this.
ever seen.
But I mean, I don't think like a young kid cares about if the pacing is frantic. Like that's fun for them. I don't think it's going to ruin like their whole outlook of film in general if the movie is moving too quickly or whatever.
I enjoyed my time. I didn't love the movie.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where they go next, because yes, they introduced Daisy at the end of this film. I really think there's only so much further you can go, like probably a Super Mario Odyssey movie. But I think at a certain point, you've got to start ramping up towards a Smash Brothers movie pretty fast, because kids are going to start outgrowing this thing not too far from now.
I mean, for me,
Yeah.
I want a Wario bad guy movie. Like, I want Wario to be the villain. That would be awesome. I mean, for me. So
it feels like, though, they are building up towards a Smash movie, because I mean, you bring in Fox McCloud, you bring in the Game & Watch character, you bring in Rob.
Yeah.
You've got all the Mario characters involved in that. I don't know if we mentioned this as much, but I did enjoy Yoshi in this. I loved
Yoshi.
I love that they played Yoshi straight up, and it was just Donald Glover saying Yoshi.
Yeah, it was
into
great.
the mic the entire movie.
with one serious Yoshi at the end, towards the end.
Yeah.
His intonation changed a little bit. He was very serious Yoshi. No, look, it is. I did not dislike it to the point where I did not enjoy myself. I know it's not a good movie, but I did like the nostalgia of it. And I will watch a third one when it inevitably comes out, because this will probably make $1 billion worldwide. Maybe.
Last one made 1.5, so I would say it's a safe bet.
Safe bet that it'll get to maybe I'll say that it'll get to 1.1. I don't think it's going to get to 1.5 again.
It's not going to match the first one. I think there's more competition this year, which is good. Project Hail Mary's turned out to be a family movie too, and it's going to have a small drop this weekend when it's lost all its premium large format screens. So that's a great sign.
So what's our focus next week?
Our focus next week is going to be the drama.
Yes.
Starring Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. It did come out this week, but there's not really much coming out next week that we really want to cover. Yeah. And I thought we'd spread out those two films to kind of have a bigger discussion. And I would have a tough time seeing the drama this week. So it all kind of worked out for the best.
Directed by Christoph Borgi. Okay. I don't know how to say his last name. The guy that directed Dream Scenario with Nick Cage.
Okay.
So there's your director.
Yeah, I'm interested. Where can people find you online, Mikey?
Yes, definitely. I am on X at the Michael Nip, but most of my film takes will be on Letterboxd, and then also we have a really awesome Discord that I will let Garrison tell you about.
You can find me at GRYFUN3, GRYFUN3 on Instagram and Twitter. You can find us, Cinema Debrief Pod, at Cinema Debrief on Instagram and Twitter. You can also email us at cinemadebriefpod@gmail.com to get into our Discord server, as Mikey just talked about, or email us some questions, whatever you guys want to send in. Just to hit this up really quickly, Dave sent in an email, I know, at one point and asked about Doomsday and asked about IMAX exclusivity for Dune. And yes, they do have the first 3 weeks of that release locked up. So now there has become an open spot on December 11th. I personally don't think it's being scared for Marvel to do that. I think it's smart for Marvel to move up a week and secure some IMAX screenings.
Yeah, get some IMAX screenings in there. I think they're waiting till CinemaCon, which is in a couple weeks, and they'll make a big announcement that they're going to move. I think that's what's going to happen.
I hope so. Just because, look, I'd love to do Doomsday. It'd be a great episode for us to talk about. But I'd rather those things have 2 separate weekends to kind of decompress from.
I would
that's a lot
as well. They're going to be 2 really long movies that I would like to not have to talk about and see at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we will see you guys next week for From Justin to Kelly and the Drama.